So the next age bracket we have is the 9 to 12-year-olds, the MidKids. So my sales pitch for the MidKids is you get to go hang out with kids and talk to them and have fun with them, and they have really cool things to say. And every time I go, I'm not good at reminding everyone to stay focused and serious, but we still have a really good time. So one of the cool things I think about MidKids that I love is any leader that comes in and meets with the kids is going to give them a different experience, and they get to interact with all different people in the community. So if you go in and do MidKids, there's not an expectation. I mean, I really like what Colleen said about if you didn't get to the rock prayers or you didn't do this one specific thing, that's okay. But we do want to provide some general guidance to give you structure if you want it, and so that we can kind of give some stuff that we're continually going through. So there's a lot of things that we're doing right now. I want to just highlight a couple of specific ones. So the first is in Kid Matins, we go through this Jesus Storybook Bible. And if you haven't read it, it's a really awesome book. I love what it says on the cover. It says every story whispers his name. So that it goes through Old Testament all the way through the New, and it talks through all these different stories. But instead of just saying Noah was this guy and he put the animals on the ark and then that's where rainbows come from, it talks about where is Jesus present in this story, where's the hope. And so the Yakeleys were talking about the idea of bringing that in and saying, well, okay, this is a great thing that we do in Kid Matins. Why are we stopping? Why are we, let's continue to talk through it, because it's a really helpful thing for me to read through. My kids are a little young and they're always turning the page before I can read the actual words, but it's beneficial for us to read too. So what we're doing is we're trying to go through a chapter every time and just talk through it. Okay, now you're a little older, you're more mature, so let's dig deeper. Let's not move on to something different, but let's talk about what you've already been going through. And I know they're familiar with it, because even if they don't admit to remembering the story, I'll talk to them about the story, and then they say, oh, I know what happens, and then they say what the Jesus Storybook Bible says. So they're picking up on it from Kid Matins and Kid Vespers, whether they know it or not. And so now we get to talk about it even more. So I've been enjoying that. And then the other main thing, we've been trying to do memory verses. And so a couple things with that, we're trying to slow it down a little bit, because the kids are really good at memorizing Bible verses, especially if Skittles are the reward. So they can memorize a new verse every week, no problem. But what I want to do is have them meditate a little bit on the verses. And so we're going to spend 4-ish sessions, which means 8 weeks, on one verse. And I noticed even the second week the kids are like, well, I already know this verse, so can I get Skittles for doing the new verse? But I want to keep drawing that in and saying, okay, let's keep thinking about this verse, and what does this verse have to say about the last week's sermon, or what does this verse have to say about our chapter of the storybook that we're going through? So we're going through all of the I ams that Jesus declares in the Bible. So right now the first one we've started with is I am the bread of life, and then we're gonna continue through that. So I would invite you guys to ask the MidKids about which verse they've been going through. And an idea that occurred to me this morning is, well, I should just be sending out the verses that we're memorizing to all the village and inviting all of you to meditate on that as we go through it. So anyways, yeah, that's what we're doing with MidKids.